So today we're going to be talking about the spare rations, and not just any spare rations, because the spare rations, there are a lot of good rolls, there are a lot of god rolls, but I myself have found the spare rations that is my god roll. Now, I have a lot of spare rations. I have a kill clip version, a multi-kill clip version, but there was always one roll that has always eluded me. Now, that roll was stuck behind several game mechanics that required a lot of work to get. Me being a PvP player, I was probably never going to get this weapon, but I'll explain what I did to get it and how you can get it, and overall why you need the spare rations. Now, if you've been a fan of the channel, maybe you've caught one of my streams before in the past, or maybe you've seen one of my videos in the past, you may have heard me talk about a perk that causes additional flinch. Now, that perk is going to be explosive payload. I wanted explosive payload on a spare rations. Now, the only way you can get explosive payload on a spare rations is by acquiring the curated version from Gambit Prime. Now, the curated version is going to come with hammer forge rifling, a panic magazine, overflow, and explosive payload. And the masterwork is going to be reload speed. Now, before we get into why I like the spare rations, let me break it down on how you can get the spare rations for yourself. For starters, the spare rations can only be acquired through Gambit Prime, and you either have to deposit 50 motes in a single Gambit match or 20 motes at once in a Gambit match. Now, keep in mind, you only get one attempt per match at this spare ration. So if you deposit 20 motes within the first few minutes of the match, you're either going to be rewarded the curated version of the spare rations or a collector token. Same goes if you deposit 50 motes and it takes you the entire match to deposit 50 motes, you get one attempt at it. So once you deposit that 50th mote, you'll either get the spare rations, the curated version, or a collector token. And I will say this, it took me 24 hours straight to get this. I spent 24 hours in Gambit Prime to get the spare rations. You cannot get it through the Reckoning. You can't farm it through the Reckoning, guys. But it has to be in Gambit Prime, and it's not a drop at the end of the match. It drops right in between the game. If you drop 20 motes, it'll drop right then and there once you bank them. And I tell you right now, the drop rate is very low, but it is worth it. Now, here's why I like the spare rations. I'm going to sell you the spare rations by the end of this video. So number one, additional flinch. When it comes to flinch, nothing does a better job than explosive payload. I've covered it multiple times on the channel that when you fire an explosive payload weapon, you deal 2 impacts of damage. The main impact and the explosive load impact. For the spare ration, that explosive impact is usually between 21 and 22, regardless of how far away your target is. It could be 75 meters away, it can be 1 meter away. You will always do 21 to 22 explosive payload damage, which is insane. And we're going to get into why that is important later on in the video. Number two, guys, I'm going to be getting into the synergy between the perks overflow and explosive payload. I am like 100% sure 50% of you who are watching this video do not know what overflow does. So overflow, guys, the perk reads, picking up special or heavy ammo reloads this weapon beyond its normal capacity. Now, what does that mean? If I slide over a special ammo box, it's on the floor, I slide over it, my spare rations will be fully loaded to max capacity and beyond. Meaning my spare rations will now have 28 rounds to it, which is great, especially for a hand cannon, because normally hand cannons have smaller magazines, which range between 12 to 14. This is going to have 28, meaning you can engage multiple targets and just spam shots without regard. When it comes to explosive payload, remember, guys, I do not need to deal impact to deal damage. If you really wanted to, you have that guardian that takes damage, you can kill someone without even looking at them. If they are sitting behind a box, you can shoot that box over and over. I'm demonstrating over and over if you really wanted to. Huge benefit from overflow here, though. You can fire that spare rations with 28 rounds and you'll have ammo for days. Lastly, and the other reason why this is going to be the best spare rations for you to get, explosive payload will always deal the same damage regardless of where you're at on the map. On screen, I will be using 2 different spare rations. My kill clip version, which has a range stat of 61, and the other version, which is going to be the explosive payload version, which has a range stat of 48, much less. Now, I'm going to be demonstrating the damage at 45 meters away. Would I personally engage at this distance? No. Normally, hand cannons start feeling damage drop off between 28 to 30 meters. But if you need to engage beyond 30 meters, I'm going to demonstrate why the explosive payload version is much better. Why the explosive payload version is going to be the version you want. Now, my kill clip Spare Ration with 61 range will take 9 shots at 45 meters away to kill somebody. 9 shots. That's a lot of shots, guys. That is a lot of shots coming from a Spare Rations with what, 12, 13? I don't even know right now. 12 or 13 rounds in it. That's crazy. You're eating up almost your entire magazine to kill somebody. But the Spare Rations with 48 range with explosive payload will only take 6 shots. Yes, 6 shots, regardless of how far away they are, because the explosive payload is going to have the same damage. When you start dealing damage drop off, this is where explosive payload kicks in, and it negates the damage drop off by always having the 21-22 damage, regardless of your range. Taking this a step further, overflow allows me to spam this as much as I want. So if I see somebody far away across the map, I already know I will be dealing 21 to 22 damage, regardless of my normal damage drop off. Overall, guys, hopefully you enjoyed the video. Hopefully I sold you on the Spare Rations. I will give my advice at the very end, which is going to be now on how to get the Spare Rations. If you do not have a full collector set, you need to get the collector set. It is much easier to deposit 20 motes rather than deposit 50 motes at once. I did the 50 motes, method for about 6-7 hours, and I said, screw this. I'm getting my collector gear. It took me, not gonna lie, maybe a week or so to get my collector gear. But after I got the collector gear, it was much easier to get the Spare Rations with explosive payload. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. Do me a huge favor. If you're new to the channel, you guys like videos like this, subscribe. If you want to see more videos like this, by all means, just comment down below, Brave. I want to see more videos like this. These are awesome weapons I want to see. Because I know a lot of people are out there grinding Spare Rations with kill clip. I know a lot of people are out there grinding Spare Rations with like multi-kill clip or rangefinder. Overall, explosive payload is extremely underrated. I've covered it multiple times on the channel. You're always going to have that 21 damage. Combining that with overflow is stupid. 28 rounds in a Spare Rations is just dumb. I'm going to leave you guys with the remaining footage. You guys are awesome, and I'll see you in tomorrow's video.